Building in stone is one of our oldest and noblest crafts. Can you imagine Westminster Abbey in steel and concrete? Stone masonry is already a craft of old men, but the art of building in stone mustn't die. The plans of the Historic Churches Preservation Trust will call upon the mason's skill for years to come, to preserve the glories of the past and build for the future. Our share in this revival of the mason's art extends to many parts of the country. To Carlisle, where the historic cathedral is undergoing extensive repairs. The Augustinian church, formed by William Rufus, was created a cathedral by Henry I in 1133. Every style of architecture, from Perpendicular back to Norman, is represented in the present building. The designers of the great cathedrals were the master masons of the time. These men had spent their lives in the craft and were responsible for the whole execution of the building work. The red freestone has stood up well to the ravages of time, but many parts of the building are crumbling in decay. The Very Reverend W.C. Main, Dean of Carlisle, points out some of the more seriously affected parts. As with Westminster Abbey and many other historic churches throughout the land, funds are urgently needed for a long-term restoration plan. Much has already been done, but it will take years to complete the task. Some of the crumbling stonework has been resurfaced or replaced with new stone. In this type of specialized work, you can't rub out mistakes and start all over again. The experienced mason has the sure touch of the master, and here, mason and apprentice work side by side. The mason to teach, the apprentice to learn. To Cumberland villages, they are saying the Bishop of Carlisle will soon be back at his castle. Rose Castle has been a bishop's palace since the 13th century. Believe it or not, even in 1336 they had to get a building license to fortify the place, a necessary precaution in those turbulent days when the double cross was the favorite emblem of the busy barons. Rose Castle is now being renovated and modernized after a decade of neglect and vacancy. A great deal has to be done to make it fit for a bishop to live in. One part of the building is being demolished, and the red stone used for repairs to the castle and for restoration work on Carlisle Cathedral. Here, too, master mason and apprentice work together, as their forefathers did in the masons' guilds centuries ago. No bulldozers here, no excavators, no machines. This is the work of hand and brain, and it can't be done any other way. There are bats in the belfry at Rose Castle, and they say that a ghost lurks somewhere in the ancient tower. I've never met anybody who's seen it. I've certainly never seen any ghost myself. I think it's just a lot of nonsense. There is no ghost, but there you are. As my grandmother used to say, somebody starts a silly story about a ghost, and before you... Well, of course, only a fool would deny the existence of ghosts. There is a ghost. A very fine example it is, too. Our next restoration contract takes us to the heart of the Lake District, to Ambleside, where the lovely Church of St. Mary's, designed 100 years ago by Sir George Gilbert Scott, is undergoing urgent repairs. The massive tower is 180 feet high and weighs 800 tons. Settlement of the foundations has caused several of the heavy stones in the buttresses to crack. It was decided to glut the foundations and lower walls of the tower with cement. Over 80 tons have already been poured into the thick, dry rubble walls to make the tower safe and sound. The firm of John Laing and Sons has its roots in the Cumberland village of Severn, where young David Laing, the builder in stone, came to live over 150 years ago. The first Laing house stands today on the hill at Severn. Over the door is a stone plaque beautifully carved by David Laing's son James. Ah, those were the days. 1848 price, £150. Today's price, £1,710. Who said the cost of living hasn't gone up? Well, you needn't talk. Building a vestry for the historic church here was one of David Laing's early contracts. Some interesting details of this have been carefully recorded in David Laing's own account book, which covered the last years of his life, from 1848 to 1857. Look at some of these pre-war prices. For building the vestry, £14.6. Lime, 4pence a hundredweight. 1 day's wages, 3 shillings and 6pence. Lead, 3pence a pound. Ah, happy days. The River Eden introduces a modern example of building in stone. Warwick Hall, the lovely mansion we built here on the outskirts of Carlisle. Now we're adding a new wing to the existing building. And finally to Nottingham, to University Park, where the magnificent stone building towers high over the valley of the Trent. Here we've commenced work on a great new project in stone, the Portland Building, which will have a frontage of 245 feet and a depth of 78 feet. The new building in Derbyshire stone, Portland stone and ashlar will be used for university administration and by the Students' Union. And here, on this fine example of the mason's art, we end our story of building in stone.